Spring break camping uncovered. The sinister, cursed presence haunting those woods was revealed. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Jenna felt a chill slither down her spine. Pine Ridge Forest loomed ahead, shrouded in darkness, a place where laughter could quickly grow silent. They were just a family, hoping for s'mores and starlit stories. But what awaited them was something far more sinister. Whispers of missing people tangled with the wind, chilling her to the bone. She clasped her son Tyler's hand tighter, glancing towards the towering trees that seemed to leer back at her. With each winding road taken, fear pulsed in her veins. Where was the peace they had sought? Was it the tales from locals at the store that gnawed at her insides? Aiden laughed it off, brushing the stories aside as folklore meant to scare tourists. But Jenna sensed an impending dread lurking behind the surface, like something alive hiding in the shadows. Setting up the tent was supposed to feel like a lovely escape, but instead, a foreboding atmosphere settled in. The chirping of birds and the rustle of leaves turned into an eerie backdrop. As darkness enveloped them, sparks danced upwards from the fire, crackling against the restless silence. Campfire games turned into strained smiles and nervous glances, a tension thick enough to cut with a knife. The woods seemed to watch, their whispers growing louder. "Did you hear that?" Mia's tiny voice trembled, eyes wide with fear. Jenna's heart raced, each thud echoing against the foreboding ambience. Aiden waved off her concerns. "It's just the wind." It was not just the wind. Jenna's skin prickled as Aiden ventured into the trees with nothing but a flashlight, consumed by the very darkness that held her captive. "Come back," she whispered, yet he slipped into shadows, leaving her behind. Time slowed. Her breath hitched as she imagined nightmares hidden within the twists of those trees. When Aiden returned, breathless and visibly shaken, he muttered something that sent every hair on her body standing on end. "I heard, I swear." It was calling my name. Days passed, and the sinister atmosphere drew tighter around the family. Flickering lights flickered like distant stars, but their glow held no warmth, only danger. The forest's lullabies grew twisted howling winds replacing the gentle rustle of leaves, creaking branches sobbing in mournful sorrow. Then came that night. A local ranger's unsettling advice echoed in her mind. "Stay close to the camp. The woods, they have eyes." Jenna's pulse quickened. They felt less like a family on vacation and more like prey caught in a predator's grasp. Pushing through her terror, Jenna restlessly roamed the darkened woods alone, driven by a compulsion she could not explain. That's when she stumbled into a hidden lodge, tucked away in the underbrush. The decaying wood creaked softly, like a breath of despair. Inside, reminders of lives long lost draped the walls. Trophies of hunts long forgotten, names etched into tarnished plaques. Mia, Tyler, Aiden. In that moment, dawning understanding crashed into her horror. They had stepped into a legacy of terror, woven deep into the roots of this forest. Just as she felt a flicker of strength to pull her family away, the shadows twisted, crawling toward her on wisps of darkness. They ebbed and flowed, weaving a sinister tapestry that tightened around her with every breath. The very essence of fear coiled around her throat, tightening until she couldn't breathe. Shadows danced with malicious intent. A whisper echoed, a voice reminiscent of Aiden's, yet twisting with dark mirth. What lay ahead was unknown. Confront the legacy of terror or become part of the wood's eternal secret. What would the dawn bring? Would they have the strength to run, or would they be swallowed whole by the cursed woods? Panic surged in Jenna's chest as the shadows slithered closer. The whispers intensified, wrapping around her like a suffocating shroud. She stumbled back, desperate to escape the lodge. The taunting names on the walls now seared into her memory like a brand. Drawn to the very fate that lingered in the dark, her heart pounded an ominous beat much like the pounding of her husband's frantic footsteps just outside. "Jenna, where are you?" Aiden's voice shattered the stillness. Relief made her step toward the door, but dread clawed at her insides. Would calling out expose them to the sinister darkness lurking right behind her? "Stay close to the fire." She breathed into the still air, knowing he couldn't hear her, but hoping against hope that Mia and Tyler could sense her fear and stay put. She forced herself to move, pushing her way through the oppressive darkness. Into the night as she exited the lodge. The unnatural stillness gripped her. A soft rustle echoed in the underbrush, and her heart raced faster. Aiden staggered out from behind the trees, a wild look in his eyes. His flashlight flickered like their crumbling sanity. "Jenna, we have to go now." His voice trembled. What happened? She grasped his arm tightly, forcing him to meet her gaze. "I saw someone, a figure in the trees. I thought it was just trickery of the light." But Aiden's voice trailed off, replaced by a heavy silence that pressed upon them. "That's not possible. Aiden, you're scaring me. The stories, they're true. But it's worse." His breath hitched. The tension in the air thickened. "Guys, please, we need to get back." Mia's voice echoed from behind him, her tiny figure trembling in the glow of their campfire. Tyler stood beside her, confusion painted on his young face. Jenna felt dizzy. They were all together again, but unease settled in. "We're staying together," she decided, gripping the hands of her children, dragging Aiden back toward the flickering flame. But even as they retreated, Jenna felt the forest shift, a pulse that beat with an ancient malice hungry for their warmth. The campfire crackled anxiously, shadows squirming against the light. They huddled together, words unspoken but understood. What was it waiting for? Then came a sound, a cacophony of laughter that broke the heavy silence. It was haunting, sickly sweet, a sound too familiar but twisted by a malevolence that chilled Jenna's core. The laughter echoed from every direction, yet no one was there. "Mom?" Tyler's voice was small against the looming dread. "Stay close. No matter what, don't leave my side." Jenna's words felt like a tether to hope, but deep within, she felt the darkness claw at her resolve. Mia suddenly pointed, her little finger trembling. "Look, over there." In the distance, beyond the flickering flames, a shadow shifted. For a second, a shape emerged, dark and twisted. The features of a figure with hollow eyes and a grin too wide to be human. It leaned closer, skimming the edge of the firelight like a predator testing its prey. "Run!" Jenna screamed, adrenaline piercing through the haze of fear. They surged together toward the trees, a frenzied escape fueled by horror. The woods closed in around them, the laughter following, an echoing reminder of what hunted them. A cold breeze chilled them to the bone as the very trees seemed to shift, blocking every path. The bright moon hung impossibly high, shining down like a cruel eye watching their desperate flight. "Where do we go?" Jenna's heart raced as she scanned the trees. Every shadow felt like a hidden danger. Each footfall echoed, louder, faster, striking the ground like a countdown to the unknown. Suddenly, Tyler tripped, falling to the forest floor. Mia screamed as Jenna snatched him up, clutching him against her body while scanning for Aiden. The malevolent laughter swelled, consuming the cries of her family, wrapping around them like chains tight and unyielding. "Don't look back," Aiden shouted, but Jenna knew they had to confront the darkness or be consumed by it. She could feel the whispers crawling beneath her skin, pushing her. Thoughts deeper into a spiral of despair. "What do we do?" she gasped, trembling. Aiden's eyes met hers, rounded by fear and a whisper of resolve. "We fight, we have to fight." The laughter crescendoed into madness. They stood on the precipice of a nightmare, and in that moment, Jenna realized the truth. They were not mere visitors, they were the next chapter in the forest's insidious story. As they prepared to face whatever the woods had conjured, the shadows swirled violently, as though they were ready to swallow them whole. Could they truly fight back? Or was the curse already too deeply rooted? The forest loomed around them, a living entity of shadows and whispers, its breath heavy with the scent of damp earth and pine. With little choice, Jenna and Aiden locked eyes, sharing a moment of raw desperation. Tyler squirmed in her arms, his warm body a fragile anchor against the creeping dread. "Stay together. Don't let go." Jenna's voice barely broke through the cacophony of laughter that seemed to pivot on their every step, twisting reality into a grotesque parody. "Look there," Mia cried, pointing, her small finger trembling again as she spotted movement. Shadows flitted between trees, darker than the space surrounding them. Each flicker drew nearer. Was it imagination? Or did they see distorted faces, cruel and hungry, emerge only to dissolve back into the shadows? Jenna pulled her children closer, adrenaline coursing through her. "We have to move," she urged, feeling the weight of Aiden's fear press upon her. They rushed forward, but the underbrush snagged at their legs, holding them back like the forest itself was unwilling to let them escape. The whispering voices intensified, filling the air with a promise of hopelessness. Aiden hesitated, unwilling to abandon Mia and Tyler to whatever was lurking just beyond the light. "We can't just run. We need a plan." His voice wavered under the pressure of a malevolent weight. "No plans. We have to fight," Jenna cried, the need to protect her family steering her choice. The decision hardened her resolve, clashing with the fright that hollowed her stomach. "Whatever's out there, it's right behind us. We must not show weakness." With that, they moved in tandem toward a break in the trees, a thin trail that led deeper into the woods. The laughter intensified as if the forest itself laughed at their plight. But something far darker lurked. A chill swept through, ice clashing with the warmth of their frantic breaths. "Mia, keep your eyes open. Tyler, hold on. This way." Jenna's command rang clear, and they stumbled forward into the darkness, following a winding path that seemed to coil like a serpent. Then, a sudden silence fell, swallowing the laughter whole. The air thickened, confusion setting in as they scanned their surroundings. The trees towered, their gnarled branches now silhouetted against an oppressive night sky. The shift in atmosphere was immediate and alarming where moments ago they had felt pursued. Now an eerie stillness enveloped them. "What happened?" Mia whispered, her voice trembling against the hollow quiet. "It's too quiet," Aiden mumbled, glancing back into the darkness from which they had fled. And then it came. A low growl that resonated through the ground, vibrated their bones, and made them freeze in place. Shadows converged at their flanks, twisting like smoke into forms that flickered and flicked just beyond their vision. A pulsing, malevolent force edged forward, creeping closer, narrowing the space of escape. "Mom, I see it," Tyler whimpered, his childish innocence shattered by the reality creeping into view. A dark figure stepped into the faint light, an abomination with sharp teeth grinning under an empty gaze. "Run!" Jenna surged into action, adrenaline propelling her again, the children clasped under her arms. They dashed, almost colliding with the underbrush as the figure lunged at them, eager for the taste of fear. Aiden held Mia's hand tightly, reinforcing his grip as they breached deeper into the thicket. But the laughter returned, screeching in their minds, breaking the silence with unrelenting mania. "Where are we going?" Tyler gasped, pulling at Jenna with tiny hands, panic evident in his voice. "We have to find a safe place," she shouted into the suffocating darkness. But the forest seemed to twist around them, paths folding in and out of existence, leaving nothing but despair in their wake. Suddenly, a flicker of light shone ahead, a soft glow where the trees thinned. "There!" Aiden gasped, hope ignited against the gnawing fear. But as they made for the light, the shadow surged, lunging at Jenna, sending a wave of darkness that engulfed them all. A forceful grip wrapped around her ankle, pulling her down. The ground rushed up to meet her, and the siblings screamed as she fell, the figure's hollow eyes looming closer as Jenna struggled against the unseen foe. She realized too late. The forest was not merely a backdrop. It was a living nightmare with an appetite for them all. The friendships of the past echoed hollowly in her mind as the final threads of hope unraveled around her to end the fleeting moment before darkness consumed her. A thought ignited: if they escaped, would they ever be free from the curse of this cursed place? And then, everything went black. The cold enveloped Jenna as she fell, a dark, consuming void swallowing her whole. The grip around her ankle vanished, and she hit the ground hard, knocking the air from her lungs. The echoes of her children's screams faded into an ominous silence. Fear clawed at her, and she struggled to breathe, her heart racing faster than ever. "Fight," she whispered to herself, the words strange against the abyss that surrounded her. Searing pain shot through her ankle, and she instinctively reached for it. But the moment her fingers collided with the ground, a shudder swept beneath her. The earth felt alive. Tremors, like tiny fingers, danced beneath her, pulling her deeper into darkness. "Mom!" The heart-wrenching cry jerked her upright. Mia's voice pierced the gloom like a beacon. Jenna clutched her chest, her pulse thumping in her ears, a frantic rhythm attempting to drown out the lurking dread. "Mia! Aiden! Tyler!" she called, her voice echoing in the stillness. But only the crickets responded, chirping and mocking her urgency. She scrambled to her feet, scanning the thick shadows. The light, it had been just ahead when she fell, and if the kids were still alive, they would be desperately searching for her too. Jenna took off back toward the flicker of hope, her breath coming in short gasps. The shadows whispered around her, voices entwined in sharp laughter, creeping close, taunting her deeper into the labyrinth of the woods. "Mia! Aiden!" she cried again, stronger this time, willing her children to find her. She stumbled forward, branches clawing at her arms like wraiths, pulling her back with spiteful force. Just as she thought she would lose herself in the forbidding darkness, she caught sight of a glimmer ahead, a fleeting light through the trees. Hope surged then, but just as quickly, it warped into dread when the laughter returned, morphing, echoing all around her. The sound was dissonant, sharp, like nails scraping against a chalkboard. She stumbled, her knees threatening to buckle beneath her, but she pressed on. She could not be lost forever, not when Mia and Tyler needed her. Suddenly, something slithered near her foot. Jenna leapt back, her pulse in her throat. A thick root, or a twist of shadow. She squinted into the darkness, searching, but felt only the inky terror enveloping her. Jenna Aiden's voice sliced through the fabric of darkness, a thin thread of hope. "Mom, please, hold on," she bellowed, pride and fear colliding in a desperate war. But the forest rippled around her, trees shifting and grinding, blocking her path. She was trapped. Even the light, which had seemed within reach, blinked out entirely. Darkness cocooned her again, a suffocating blanket, making the air feel thick and heavy. The growl returned, not far off. Closer this time, the dark figure re-emerged, gliding between the trees, teeth glinting, eyes reflecting an insatiable hunger. She froze, instinct telling her to run. But where? Mom. Mia was calling again, but the unmistakable tone in her voice made Jenna's heart drop. Fear, a terror too raw. "No, I'm coming," Jenna shouted, pushing forward, battling her way through the forest, limbs flailing against the oppressive branches. The laughter crescendoed as shadows surrounded her, closing in around her throat like tendrils of despair. With one last push, she barreled beyond a thicket of branches and stumbled into a moonlit clearing. "Mom!" Mia's voice echoed from the opposite side, frantic but filled with relief. Jenna spotted her children, clinging to each other in the shadows, eyes wide with terror. But an unseen pressure forced down on them, a malignant presence pouring from the depths of the woods. The figure loitered at the tree-line, watching, waiting, teeth bared in a cruel smile. "What do we do?" Aiden gasped, terror etched across his face. As Jenna grasped their hands tightly, dread coiled through her. They weren't safe yet. But then something shifted. An ancient whisper, faint yet clear, slipped through the wind. Jenna froze as the voice threaded through her mind. "Feed the curse, or be consumed." "Run," Jenna shouted, her body instinctively moving toward the safety of the trees. But in the infectious silence, the darkness pulsed. The monstrous laughter returned, growing louder as they sprinted toward unknown horror. What would they feed? And how far would they have to go to escape the curse, or worse, fulfill it? They raced through the trees, the air thick with foreboding. Every rustle, every snap of a twig sent jolts of fear coursing through Jenna's body. She glanced back at her children, hearts pounding, eyes bright with panic. Mia was crying, her tiny hands gripping Aiden's as she stumbled behind. Jenna's chest tightened. She couldn't let them fall behind. "Stay close," she yelled, her voice still crackling from straining to be heard above the laughter of the shadows. But the darkness roared back, seeming to take on a life of its own. Tendrils of mist curled around the children's legs, slowing them as if the forest conspired against their escape. Jenna felt their unity falter. They were being pulled apart by an unseen force, and terror clawed at her throat. Mia, Aiden, do not stop. They pushed deeper into the gloom, breathless, adrenaline surging. Jenna's ankle throbbed with every step, but she ignored the stab of pain, ignoring everything but the instinct to survive. She could feel the dark figure chasing them, its breath hot and rancid suffocating the air ahead. Mom, what does it mean? Aiden gasped, darting a terrified look at her, his brow slick with sweat. What do we have to feed? I don't know, she cried, the truth sinking in like a stone in her gut. They were running toward something terrible, something that lurked in the very marrow of the forest. A part of her knew they wouldn't escape without making a sacrifice. But how could she even think of that? The laughter intensified, morphing into a wicked singing, words that twisted and garbled sickening melodies that burrowed deep into their minds. Mom! Mia shrieked, her voice trembling. It's behind us. Jenna didn't need to look. She felt it, the presence slithering closer, shadows stretching and contorting, almost human but monstrous in every other way. She racked her brain for ideas, for anything that could give them a fighting chance. Look, she cried suddenly, catching a glimpse of a murky pond up ahead, its surface rippling like an oil spill. The pond, maybe if we make it there, we can, Mom. Aiden shouted, a note of panic darkening his tone. South too close. Jenna's heart dropped. She was losing them. A quick glance back showed her the darkness sliding over her children like a cloak. It was too late to reason. They had to act now. They dove toward the pond, the water black as pitch. But as they neared, a voice slithered through their minds, eerie, seductive. Feed the curse, it whispered again, tinged with derision. Give me what I desire, no. Jenna screamed, submerged in a rising tide of dread. We won tea. The moment they reached the water's edge, something shifted. The water began to bubble and churn, dark mirth dancing with every ripple. Jenna could feel it pulling on her. Grab my hand. But before they could react, the surface exploded. A figure shot up from beneath, cloaked in darkness, hair like serpents crowned atop its head. It was a woman, no, something inhuman yet painfully familiar. Jenna's stomach turned. Mom? Mia whimpered, her grip slipping. Get away from her. Jenna screamed, thrusting herself forward, ready to shield her children with her own body. But as she stepped into the water, she felt icy fingers grasp her ankle. The pond was alive. Mia, Aiden, run, she shouted, fighting against the grip tightening around her leg. Pulled her deeper. Dread surged, a cruel reminder of the choice looming over them. Aiden stumbled sideways, dragging Mia with him. Tears streamed down their cheeks. We can't leave you, he screamed, pain lacing his voice. Feed it, the figure hissed, eyes swirling with abyssal hunger. Only then will you survive. Jenna clawed at the dark tendrils, trying to break free, trying to keep her children safe. But it was too late. The laughter echoed through eternity, the final choice nestled tight around them. Your flesh? Your blood? It whispered in twisted anticipation, eyes glinting. Which will bring you salvation? Desperate, Jenna's thoughts spiraled. Would they truly be consumed? With one last surge of strength, she yanked herself up, hurling herself toward her children. But the bond between them was fraying. She could feel it like the grip of ice. Don't let go. But as they turned to flee, the darkness surged forward, unstoppable and ravenous. The choice was not theirs to make anymore. It was already deciding for them. What would it claim? Would the curse take what it wanted? Or would the children be left standing amidst the shadows, forever haunted? Mom, what do we do? Aiden's voice trembled, already filled with despair. And as Jenna stared into the abyss, an unfathomable fear gripped her heart. Would they fight against it? Or were they already lost? Jenna's breath caught in her throat as the figure looming before them twisted and contorted, its edges blurring with shadows. She felt the icy fingers tighten around her ankle, dragging her further into the murky depths of the pond. The water roiled with dark intention, a chilling force that whispered ominously against her skin. "Mia! Aiden!" she yelled, desperation cracking her voice. She could see her children, faces pale with fear, their tiny bodies trembling. Aiden's arms were flailing, desperately trying to pull Mia away as the darkness lapped at their heels like a jealous lover. "Mom! Don't go! Please!" Aiden wailed, his words slicing through her like a knife. The figure in the pond, now only half visible beneath the black water, let out a laugh that curdled the air. "You cannot save her. Feed the curse or watch her drown." Jenna's heart sank. "No!" she screamed, fighting against the gnawing terror clawing at her insides. The cold was unbearable, creeping through her veins like poison. It was all-consuming, paralyzing in its insistence. Tendrils of wet darkness slithered across her skin, silently urging her to let go. Memories flashed, silvery giggles around campfires, warm hugs after bad dreams, stories told under starlit skies. She couldn't let them lose that. "Don't let go of each other," she gasped, feeling the weight of the choice pressing down on her. "We're stronger together." But even as Jenna spoke, she sensed the struggle inside the pond. It wanted to tear them apart. Aiden hesitated, glancing back at her, eyes wide. "Mom, I'm scared." Mia's small voice broke in, its tremor echoing Jenna's dread. "We just need to run. We can find help." As if the very words summoned it, the laughter deepened, resonating through the trees, rising up out of the shadows. "Help? No one will hear your screams. Here, in my embrace, you belong." The darkness writhed, and for a fleeting moment, Jenna's grip on reality dimmed. She could see fleeting images within the depths, lost souls trapped, echoes of others who had been devoured. It was more than just a monster. It was a curse, alive and hungry. "Mia! Aiden!" Jenna shouted again, trying to rally her strength. "We can't give in. Think of the stories we have to fight. We can't feed it." The more she spoke, the more the darkness coiled around her. It pulsated with hunger, almost tempting her. One sacrifice could be the answer. Relief for herself and an escape for her children. But could she truly save them that way? "Mom!" Mia's eyes sparkled with tears as she gripped Aiden tighter. And in that moment, Jenna felt like the world was tilting. The ground beneath them suddenly shifted, as though the forest itself was responding to the curse warping. Shifting in a dance of torment. Up ahead, the shadows began to pull back for a breath, revealing a faint light like the flickering of a distant fire. It was small, barely there, but its warmth beckoned. "Over there." "The light." Jenna pointed, hope igniting within her. But Aiden started, hesitating as the grip of the pond held tighter. "Now!" she yelled, thrusting the last of her strength into her will. "Run!" They stumbled back, dragging each other, fear streaking their faces. They could feel the darkness stabbing at their heels, whispering temptations that danced just above the surface as they tore away. Jenna's heart slammed against her chest with every chaotic step. But the pond was not finished. From its depths, tendrils surged forth with newfound fury, snapping toward the fleeing children. "Feed the curse," it hissed, an angry growl, reverberating through the air like a thunderclap. But the light flickered ahead, a promise of shelter, safety. Jenna pushed everything she had left into her legs, her hope igniting their flight. They could not be lost, not now. As they bolted towards the light, eerie faces began to surface from the water, twisted and mournful. Their cries echoed, filled with that ancient sorrow, as if begging for release, pleading for a sacrifice. Jenna's heart split at the sight, but she pushed on. Her children clutched in her grasp just as light kissed their skin. Then, just as they neared the glow, the ground beneath them trembled violently. With a bone-chilling crack, the earth split open, and shadows writhed hungrily, beckoning them back into the abyss. Jenna could feel the darkness stretching, reeling, as though it had never been defeated. It was not just after her. It wanted them all. "Run!" she screamed again, a primal urge taking over. as the shadows rose like a tidal wave behind them. Would the light be their salvation, or just another lie spun by the dark? The moment hung thick with fear what was waiting for them at the edge of salvation. With a final push, Jenna surged toward the light, dragging her children along as the ground trembled beneath them. A tearing sound filled the air, like branches snapping in a storm, and Jenna spun around just in time to see the pond erupt. Shadows cascaded out, dark waters spilling onto the dry ground, engulfing everything in their path. "Mom, please," Aiden cried, tugging at her sleeve. He was pale, tears cutting through the dirt on his cheeks. "We can't leave them behind." Jenna's heart twisted at the pained faces rising from the pond, eyes wide, mouths open as if in a cry that never made it out. They were lost souls, victims caught in the curse. But leaving Mia and Aiden meant losing them forever. "We have to go. They're not real. They want to pull us back." The ground shook again, fissures spiderwebbing outwards as the dark tendrils reached for them. The shadows roared, a sound that shook the very trees around them, and the light ahead flickered like a dying flame. "We won't leave you," Mia shouted, brave but trembling. "We can help." "Mom, no!" Jenna screamed, the realization crashing over her. The cursed weight of the place was attempting to drag her children down, to make them choose the despair that had consumed countless others. They had to make it to the light, to the promise of safety. "Just hold on." Jenna's voice cracked as she picked up speed, feeling her muscles strain, panic surging through her. With each step, the shadows clawed at her ankles, their cold grasp like ice, and she fought harder against their pull. "Feed the curse," the deep voice murmured again, soft yet menacing, entwining around her thoughts. "Let go and you can save them." "No," she cried out, feeling the darkness trying to worm its way into her resolve, squeezing her heart like a vice. But the warmth of the light was now closer, burning in her mind, urging her on. The area around them began to distort and shift, trees bending and twisting, pulsing like they were alive. With them came the wails of those lost, a mournful orchestra of despair. "Mia!" Jenna pulled, her adrenaline surging. "Don't look back. Just run." They stumbled together, feet pounding, as the light wrapped around them. It beckoned, glowing brighter with every desperate step. If they could just reach it, then a hideous laughter erupted from the pond, echoing, reverberating in the night. "You'll never escape. This is your fate." In that heart-stopping moment, Jenna glanced back. The pond had transformed. Faces now emerged fully from the water, ghastly and grotesque, gripping the air with claw-like hands, crying out for mercy they would never get. Some reached for her children, their mouths moving in feverish calls. "Mom, help!" Aiden shouted, slipping in the mud, almost falling. Jenna's instincts kicked in, adrenaline pumping, and she surged forward, wrapping her arms around both children. "Stay close." But even as she spoke, the shadows lunged. Tendrils aimed straight for Aiden, seeking prey, hungry for souls. "Always, always hungry," the voice boomed, chilling Jenna to her core. Jenna gritted her teeth, carrying her kid's weight, pushing through sobs that threatened to escape. The light pulsed, almost blinding now, infusing her with its warmth, her heart racing with hope. Just a few more steps, Lies. It's only a maze. The shadows hissed, and the ground bucked beneath her, trying to throw them off course. Then, as if sensing their determination, the face of darkness twisted into something more sinister. "Sacrifice or suffer together," it whispered, dragging a cold finger down Jenna's spine. Jenna's pulse quickened. Panic clawed at her mind. What did it want? Would it really take one of them? "Mom, I can't," Aiden sobbed, dragging his small feet. Jenna felt the darkness trying to seep into him. Once more. "I won't let it," Jenna roared defiantly, bursting forth with all she had left. Just then, everything trembled violently, and a blinding flash lit up the forest behind them. For a moment, the tendrils hesitated, shrinking back, but not for long. Jenna gasped as they surged again, more furious than before. Shadows, twisted and contorted, focusing their energy on the family running toward the light. In one terrifying heartbeat, Jenna could feel the shadows intensifying, but she dared a glance back. What would she find? Mia screamed, and everything went black. Would they reach the light, or would the darkness claim them? Jenna gasped for breath, her heart pounding in her ears as darkness enveloped them. Every instinct screamed to keep moving, but then silence descended, a heavy, oppressive quiet that suffocated her. The black was thick, suffused with an energy that weighed them down, and Jenna's eyes strained against the void. "Mom?" Aiden's voice trembled, mesmerizing in its fragility, cutting through the shrouded silence. "Here, love. I'm right here." Jenna clutched her children, holding them as much for herself as for them. The shadows peeled away, shifting into soft whispers that coiled around her thoughts, wrapping their cold fingers around her sanity. "You can save them. All it takes is a choice." The voice was smoother now, seductive and enticing. Within the darkness, something flickered at the edges of her perception. Indistinct forms writhing like smoke, whispering of lost dreams and despair. "No," she shouted, shaking her head violently, as if that could free her from their grasp. "I want to listen." Aiden moved, preternaturally close, his small hand gripping Jenna's tightly. "Mom, make it stop, please." His fear-fueled desperation threatened to crack her resolve. The weight of the decision loomed. To carry on meant the potential for hope, but surrendering to the shadows might mean salvation, or at least the chance to keep them safe. Then, as suddenly as it had come, the darkness thinned, flickering like a dying light bulb. Jenna took a step forward, squinting into the swirling gloom. Was it an escape, or had they merely stumbled into another trap? "Mia?" Jenna called out, panic clawing at her throat. "Aiden? Here." Mia's timid voice broke through the murk. "I'm here." Jenna's heart soared and plummeted in equal measure. They were all together, but the relief was fleeting. The relentless shadows danced about like hungry wolves, their hollow laughter echoing hauntingly. In a moment of daring defiance, Jenna pressed onward, pushing against the sidelines of doubt. The light had been there, she was certain of it. They had to find it again. She could almost feel it heating her skin, igniting her spirit. Suddenly, a deafening roar sliced through the air, cutting off her faith. The ground beneath them shook violently, and Jenna felt the insatiable pull of darkness around her. A deep fissure began to open, wide and hungry, splitting the earth with eerie precision. Jenna's stomach lurched, sensing the gravity of the malevolent force rising from below. Aiden screamed as the crack widened, almost swallowing him whole. Jenna lunged forward, arms outstretched. She clasped her son, pulling him up just as the earth quaked violently. "Hold on to me." Mia fell back, teetering dangerously close to the edge. Jenna's heart raced. "Mia, grab my hand." But the shadows surged, a wall of cruel darkness advancing toward them, intent on consuming everything. Jenna's gut twisted with dread. "No," she muttered, fully aware that each second lost brought them closer to eternal despair. "Leave them," the voice hissed, cackling with malevolence. "Let them join the others. It's the only way." Aiden's voice pierced through the chaos. The decision slammed into her heart, a weight heavier than time. To save her children or risk it all, would one life be enough to ease the horror? Could she sacrifice for them, or would it end them all? As if sensing her indecision, shadows started creeping toward Aiden and Mia. Jenna felt the ground shift beneath her. She was losing time. "No." In a desperate surge, she ripped Mia from the edge. Not today. Not knowing how long she could resist, Jenna bolted forward, pushing against the suffocating darkness. The sounds of wails and cries filled her ears, an agonizing chorus of unwound souls yearning for release. Then, abruptly, she broke through the shadow barrier into a shimmering glade. A gasp escaped her lips, but the sight was terrible. The light was sickly pallid, offering no warmth. Shapes loomed around them, ghostly figures lingering, accusing, waiting. "Mom," Aiden whispered, and though the shadows pulled back, they circled their new sanctuary, close enough to feel their icy breath. Are we safe? Mia's eyes darted, wide with fear. No. Not for long. Something shifted behind her. A flicker of hope snuffed out, casting doubt in the air. Run back. The cold voice taunted, echoing through the glade. You can still feed the curse. She can't protect you forever. Jenna turned, fury igniting. Shadows danced close, hungry for despair. They needed a way out. She felt her children shiver beside her. They were depending on her, and as the shadows balled up like a storm ready to strike, she could either fight back or give in. But what awaited them beyond the glade? Willing to face it all, Jenna whispered, "We haven't given up yet." But as a flicker in the dark caught her eye, she knew not all awaited them was escape. What was lurking in the glade? The air turned colder, biting at Jenna's skin as her resolve settled into a deep-rooted dread. It felt wrong. The glade pulsed with unease, shadows wrapping around her like tightly coiled serpents. A heavy fog rolled in, obscuring their surroundings, thickening the malevolence that lay in waiting. Mom, I don't like it here." Aiden's voice quivered, filled with fear that grabbed hold of Jenna's heart. "Yes, I know," she whispered, pulling her children close as an icy mist kissed the ground around them. It had swallowed the glade whole. They were not alone. Figures shifted within the obscurity. Heads turned toward them, eyes flickering with ancient sights, lost souls swarming, drawn by their fright. Whispers swirled like wind chimes caught in a storm, a cacophony of misunderstood pain. "You should have left," they murmured. "Now you are part of us." Panic raced through Jenna's veins. "We need to move. Now." Tugging at Aiden's hand, she yanked him forward, but Mia hesitated, rooted to the spot, her eyes wide and terrified. "Mom, look." Jenna turned. In the center of the glade stood a towering figure cloaked in shadows, an entity draped in despair. Its face was featureless, a void that seemed to absorb the light. With a low, guttural sound, it beckoned them closer, its hands stretching out, fingers elongating until they became slender, bone-like appendages. "Stay back," Jenna shouted, her voice cracking under the weight of terror, her grip tightening around Aiden and Mia. The darkness shivered with delight, swirling around them as a laugh erupted. It was cruel and haunting, reverberating in their bones. "You have wandered far, little ones. The curse welcomes you. Why not embrace it?" Each word twisted through Jenna's core, gnawing at her soul's strength. She took a hesitant step back, her instincts screaming at her to run. But where? Everything around them felt alive, pulsing with hunger. We have to get out," Aiden cried, eyes darting between the wraith and the encroaching shadows. "Mia, hold on to Aiden," Jenna commanded, desperation lining her words. She took a deep breath and faced the ghastly figure. "What do you want from us?" Its laughter ceased, the glade growing silent. "Freedom as sacrifice, the choice is yours." A moment's stillness. Jenna felt the unrelenting weight of the decision clawing at her mind, a dark hand threading through her thoughts. For a flicker of a second, she wondered if the choice meant she could retain the lives of her children at a price that only she would have to pay. But with that flicker of hope came piercing clarity. The price could be her. The very thought made bile rise in her throat. "What if I don't choose?" Jenna replied, heart pounding, adrenaline coursing through her veins like wildfire. "Then you will remain forever," the figure hissed, its voice a chilling breeze brushing against her neck. Shadows lunged forward, smirking, closing in. Aiden screamed, pulling at her shirt, panic evident in his wide eyes filled with a haunting recognition of their impending doom. In that moment, the very walls of the glade seemed to quiver as if the very ground knew dread too. Jenna felt dread tenfold. They were truly trapped. Suddenly, an idea sparked through her. Jenna bowed her head. "Can I trade something?" The figure leaned closer, intrigued. "What have you to offer?" Her heart raced. "A memory, no, my fear, take my fear." The air stilled, the figures around them paused. Silence hung. Was it enough? But the laughter returned, taunting her from all sides. "What is to stop you from feeling fear again, child?" Jenna's head spun. "No, I want tea, let it consume us." As she spoke, shadows lunged, and in a moment of primal instinct, she shouted, "Run!" She pulled her children after her, the glade swirling into chaos behind them. They sprinted through the dense fog, black limbs reaching, grasping at their legs as they plunged deeper into the unknown. But as they fled, shadows began to dissolve, revealing paths splitting off in all directions. Jenna's heart sank. They could escape, but which way? Nothing felt certain. "Mom, where do we go?" Mia sobbed, her small hand trembling in Jenna's grip. Jenna looked left and right, then cast her gaze forward, where the shadows thinned into a sliver of light. Hope ignited once more. That way. But what if it led to more evils lying in wait? As they charged toward the light, Jenna could hear the figure's voice echo behind them. "You can't run, the curse is yours forever." A chill ran down her spine as they sprinted onward. What awaited them in the light? Would it be salvation or even darker chaos? The light blazed brighter as Jenna propelled her family forward, the shadows screaming around them, gnashing teeth and clawing for their ankles. Each step felt like a battle, but her determination mixed with sheer desperation fueled her legs. They needed to escape. There was no other choice. "Keep running," Jenna urged, her voice crackling, drowning beneath the cacophony of the shadowy wails. Each pulse of darkness behind them was a reminder of what awaited if they turned around. Aiden and Mia stumbled together, fear etched on their young faces. Jenna's heart thundered in her chest. She couldn't lose them. "Not here, not now." "Mom, I'm scared." Aiden's voice trembled, gripped by panic. "Just hold on to each other. Trust me." The flickering glow ahead seemed to spit on the darkness surrounding them like gasoline on a fire. It beckoned warmly, promising safety. But Jenna knew better. Nothing came without a price. Suddenly, the ground quaked beneath them. Cracks opened like mouths ready to swallow them whole. Jenna grasped her children's hands tighter, tucking them close as terror swirled in the air, the laugh that shattered their resolve echoing like a death knell. "We can't stop now," she shouted, urging them forward. "It's right behind us." With each frantic stride, hopeful anticipation mingled with bone-chilling dread. They broke through the edge of the trees, bursting into the clearing. The brightness nearly blinded them. "Mom!" Mia called out, her voice a tiny beacon over the torrential howl of shadows. Jenna turned her head just in time to see the figure emerge from the darkness, its form distorted and monstrous, eyes swirling with an insatiable hunger. The soulless smile stretched across its visage, promising despair. Dark tendrils writhed around it, clawing at the edges of the light, threatening to draw the trio into darkness once more. Jenna barely contained her anxiety. "We need to confront it," she whispered, breathing heavily. "Together." "Together," Aiden echoed, holding Mia's hand like a lifeline, his small frame trembling. Determined, Jenna took a single step forward, every instinct screaming to run, but she knew they had to face the darkness. "Leave us alone," she shouted, her voice trembling but resolute. Every ounce of her fear materialized into fierce defiance. "We won't feed your curse. We're stronger than you." The twisted face of the figure shifted, a warped version of a smile creeping onto its face. "Stronger? You are nothing but prey. This darkness," it laughed, "is your home now. The cursed only find solace in the shadows." Jenna's heart raced, panic tightening her throat. "What do we do?" she gasped, looking quickly at Aiden and Mia. They huddled together, trying to gather the courage that slipped from their grasp as the creature advanced, shadows inching closer. The pangs of tension tangled within them. Every shadow seemed to laugh, every flicker felt like a taunt. But Jenna could not falter. "Think about the light," she urged. "It represents us, our love, our family. We will not let you take that away." The figure recoiled as if struck. For a moment, the laughter faded, replaced by a whispering chill that swept through the clearing. The light pulsed a response. With a sudden roar, Jenna surged forward, feeling strength surging within. "Not today," she cried, launching herself toward the light, holding Aiden and Mia tight against her. Their bond shone, illuminating the darkness that clawed around them. As they collided into the warm glow, A burst of energy radiated like a shield against the shadows. The darkness pulled back, swirling like smoke caught in a windstorm, screeching in anger. With shoves and might, Jenna pushed through the barrier of light surrounding them. The shadows shrieked in a terrifying symphony, fading like a bad dream. She felt warmth envelop them, flickering like a flame, as they stumbled into a world beyond the haunted forest. Yet the glade flashed briefly before her eyes, revealing faint figures, lost souls who had succumbed to the darkness. Their faces, visages of despair, drifted back into obscurity. Jenna gasped, despair tugging at her heart. "We did it," she exclaimed, glazed in sunlight now. "Are we free, Mom?" Aiden asked, relief flooding his senses but replaced quickly with uncertainty. "Let us hope so," she said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. She pulled her children into her embrace, tears streaming down her cheeks, relief and sorrow intertwining, as they held one another tightly as they finally caught their breath. A wave of warmth surrounded them. The past shadows faded, but a part of Jenna knew this wouldn't just be a simple escape. There were lives intertwined in the forest's curse. She would carry their memory always. Despite the darkness they defaced, hope sparkled within her soul, igniting her spirit. Love would be their armor through all future fears. They could return one day to share the stories of courage and resilience against the dark heart of the woods. The family turned to leave the forest behind, stepping into a future not yet written. And somehow Jenna knew they'd thrive. The last echoes of laughter from the cursed place twinkled into the distance as the shadows fell behind, never to reclaim her family again. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. And for the love of everything, instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support, so don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the real value of supporting the channel through these actions.